So I've been an agent since in Phoenix, Arizona on the west side. We're actually in Goodyear, Arizona since 2012. Obviously that puts us at about 11 years now. And the first year was a struggle, as everyone tells you it's going to be. But everybody tells you, when you get your license, tell everybody you know. But we had just moved here less than a year prior. So probably 6 months prior, 7 months prior. So we didn't know anybody. So I didn't have anyone to tell. And I thought I had been into real estate as far as like investment and stuff like that prior. So I figured, I knew my stuff. I'd have no problem succeeding where others would fail, and realized it had nothing to do with it. So what do? I bought some Zillow leads, thought for sure as soon as the first one came through, I'd, sell them the house. Of course, they didn't answer. I called them once, probably. And then realized, for $300, that doesn't get you a lot of Zillow leads, even in 2012. So yeah, it was almost the entire year I didn't sell a house. And fortunately, some friends of ours were agents, and we had just met them buying something on Craigslist, and they're like, oh, we might start a team. So fortunately, they took me on. Without that, I would have been back to the job life, getting some, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So I was so fortunate for them. They were actually our closest friends. My wife and I work together now, and closest friends of ours are them. So we don't work with them anymore. But yeah, they kept us alive for years that we stayed with them, probably until 2015. And then we branched off on our own. So yeah, that's kind of how we got started. It was a little shaky. And then we had our struggles starting back up again, if you want to call it that, as solo agents, without any, support from them anymore. So yeah, it was tough. But yeah, ultimately they started going a direction that just wasn't a good fit for us anymore. We totally get why they did it. It was a good direction for them. Just wasn't a great fit for us anymore. We were just having a new baby, and just having the schedule not be as flexible was just too tight. So either way, we had a good reason to move on, and we're glad we did. Everybody's happy. So yeah, that's kind of how we got started. My wife got her license a few years later after she kept working to keep us afloat. And then once we felt comfortable, me and her kind of joined up together and been doing it ever since.
Very cool. Congratulations on branching off on your own and starting a team, and the addition to your family. That's very exciting. Lots of changes. So I'm curious, how did you go from starting a team to finding Follow Up Boss and finding help with getting Follow Up Boss set up?
So I think I actually tried Follow Up Boss maybe back in the early days after I branched off and we went out on our own and we're looking for a CRM. I mean, I knew what a CRM was. Top Producer was like the CRM that everybody seemed to use back in those days. So tried that, jumped into Follow Up Boss. It was really cheap. It still is quite inexpensive, but I didn't really understand what a CRM was supposed to do for me. I knew I was supposed to put all my contacts in, so I did that. And then it kind of felt like the first day I'm having my license. I'm like, okay, great. Now it's all set up. What do I do? And it didn't do anything. Just sat there. So I know there were smart lists and things, but I had entered all these people manually. I didn't have anything set up. I didn't know how to, or that you could set it up. So, I just kind of let that go and never came back. But then we joined Ylopo about a year ago, and Ylopo required, of course, that there's certain CRMs you have to be willing to join with so that they can merge all your leads and all this stuff. So we chose Follow Up Boss, and this time around, it's been amazing, mainly because we hired you guys right after starting up a Follow Up Boss, because I remembered that last time I had it, it was only as useful as what I set up, and I hadn't set up anything last time. So I love doing certain things, but I do not like setting up CRMs, automations. I didn't want to have to write my own email templates, action plans, all of that. So having you guys you were so highly recommended from all of the people in the the Follow Up Boss Facebook group, that it seemed like an obvious choice. So we talked with you briefly, or kind of went over what you offered, and that's kind of why Follow Up Boss has been huge for us ever since. Like now we do everything through Follow Up Boss. We've added on the phone numbers. We have multiple accounts, all trying to, it's kind of fun to try to figure out the best ways to make it work. But without your support, your help, your action plans, and all the stuff you provided, we still would just be sitting there with a bunch of contacts that were doing nothing. So
yeah, more like a glorified address book that you
exactly.
pay
Yeah.
for.
You could have handwritten that stuff down, or just use an Excel spreadsheet. It would have been just as useful if we weren't doing the stuff with the drips and the texts now through Texting Betty and all that. So really the calls are the only thing that it doesn't do for us.
So I'm curious, what was the main thing that made you decide to hire our team to set up Follow Up Boss?
Honestly, I don't know what I probably went in and searched in the Follow Up Boss Facebook communities site. Like, I don't know if I searched for it, I don't actually know if I was looking for the solution, or I just was browsing through all the comments and saw repeatedly certain people saying certain things or asking for those. And you were referenced many times, and you had a lot of input into those comments, into those questions that seemed, like you were really involved in Follow Up Boss and knew it. And everyone said you were the best. Quite honestly, I don't really know who else was an option. I just took your name and I reached out to you, and that was it. I never looked any farther. So yeah, that was kind of how we came to hire you guys. One, recommendations, and the people that were recommending you, I would like to be like them. So I figured here's a good start.
Very cool. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So what did you value most out of the service, whether it was the setup itself or something different that we provided?
What I valued most, just because call me lazy, I just done for me, the best thing. Like there's so many things that, especially in real estate, you can hear about, read about, be promoted to you can go out and search for. And everything they say sounds really good. And then it's like really exciting the days leading up to getting something like that, at least for me. But then once you get it, all of a sudden it's like this total opposite feeling of, oh my God, now I have to like figure this out. I have to learn how to do it. I have to set it up. So for you guys, it was just, I couldn't quite believe actually it was going to be as easy and done for us as it was. I mean, I knew I'd let you into my account and you would do whatever it was you did, but like, it was only like a day or something, maybe it was a week, I don't know, but it was really quick for all you did. I'm like, so went in and did all these automations, all these emails were in there, all these action plans for all these different lead sources that I didn't even have to really specify. So yeah, from the day we hired you till the day you completed the overall work, it was just went from our follow-up boss did nothing, it was an address book, to it was a fully functional follow-up system aside from the calls. I mean, we didn't have the texts right away because we added texting Betty with you later, but yeah, the emails were awesome. We made a few minor adjustments to certain things. If I see an email that someone replies to and I'm like, oh, it doesn't really sound like me, I know enough to how to get in there and just adjust a few words. But it's funny how many times people would write back to us after that. Oh my God, what did I write to them? Like I know I get confused in my daily life, but I'm like, oh my God, I wrote to them. And I'm like, oh, this is one of those emails. So, and they wrote back and they're like engaging in a conversation. These are people I might have known, like past clients. And then I'd write back to them quickly to make sure that they, felt it was not an automated thing. But yeah, it was fun to see.
Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you for sharing that. So what would you say to someone, whether they're solo, like when you first started off, they're struggling, or if they're branching off from a team and now they're starting their own solo company and they're struggling with their business or they're struggling with their CRM, what would you share with them?
Obviously, of course, get a CRM. Everybody says that. And everybody was saying that when I started, but everyone said also like, let everybody know you're in real estate. And I'm like, well, it doesn't really apply to me. I don't have anyone to tell, or maybe I don't have a lot of contacts for my CRM. And I totally get the catch-22 of 50 people, is it really worth a CRM? Do you really need all of this? I could just go through 50 people a day and just say, who should I call? So I kind of get that. But then, of course, then somewhere in the midst of 20, 50, or 100 people, you get to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Now, all of a sudden, they're not categorized right, or you don't have them in a CRM. Now you have to go through them like one by one. And it's like, that's not fun either. I've had to do that. And it's tedious. So I would always say start with a CRM, especially follow-up boss. I don't know what it costs for one simple user. It's like $59 or $70. I don't know.
Yeah, 69. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, there it is, right in there. So yeah, I mean, it was so inexpensive compared to some options I'm sure that are out there. So I'm like, I would just get that, even if you're just using it to plug in everybody and just fill in as much information as you can about everybody, so that come the day you're ready to really start doing something significant, everyone's in the right spot, because that would just make it awesome and easy. And I would tell people, I don't know if they're first day on the job, I don't know if they want to fully implement everything you have or if that's too much. But I mean, at some point I would just say, I don't think some one individual agent will want to have the time to write all those emails, figure out when to send them, all of that stuff. And you even, embedded videos and things like that and links into our emails. So it's like, unless you want to spend your time doing that, I would just tell them, whoever they hire, just hire somebody to build out at least something for even just for your sphere, people, some campaigns that will automatically jump out to people that you don't have to constantly remember what to do. So, and you also organized our smart lists a little bit differently as well. I honestly don't even know what you did, because I hadn't even been with Follow Up Boss long enough to even have used the smart lists or understood what they were doing. So it was no change for me to just start working out your smart lists.
We really appreciate your support in doing this.
Yeah, feel free, but not necessary. I mean, we just like helping out companies that have been good for us. I mean, there's so many companies out there, especially customer service wise. I mean, we've been dealing with airlines lately and any other number of things, and just nobody cares. You just get the feeling like everybody just wants to check out at 5:00 or whenever their day ends.
Right.
Like, I'm just going to get there. Like we call and someone's like, oh, I'll make a note of this. I'm like, what was your name? Just because I feel like you're just going like this. But yeah, for you guys, the customer service after the fact, which I was not even requiring, expecting, or felt I even was needing, has been awesome. Like the follow-up that you guys continue to stay in touch with us, and we don't pay for that. Like we paid you, and you still continue to offer services for free or add additions to what we paid for a year ago for free, which is awesome.